be welcoming George, Hanna, and the crew at Meanwhile at the podcast, and special guest, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to believe it, but he's here in the flesh, our very own God of podcasting. That guy going to be stepping in here in just a moment. So let's see who. Oh, we've got people knocking. Goodbye, gentlemen.
Bye.
Ooh, let's see.
Hey, and if you guys could leave the green room whenever he lets you in.
Okay.
There should just be a leave button at the bottom of the screen.
We've got somebody coming in. It's connecting. They're wearing a Doctor Who shirt that I'm in love with.
Oh, really?
Okay. I don't hear anything.
Nick?
Yes?
It is George.
Oh
From
shit.
Meanwhile, the podcast. How are you?
I'm dubbing you up. Hang on. Wait. There we go. Get it out of there. There we go. George, welcome to the live stream for The Cure, my friend.
Nick, it is nice to speak with you. It is nice to see you in the flesh and in Cyberland here.
Yes. I am in love with that shirt.
Oh, thank you. And pants were optional, right?
Pants are definitely optional. I'll be disappointed if you stand up and I see any denim or khaki or anything.
Oh, you're fine, and we can see what kind of donations we can get for that view.
Yes. All right, and we are to be joined also by your co-hosts, because this is a relatively new venture.
Yes, I guess I should explain while we're waiting for Rodney and Kristen to join us.
Please.
Did you get that?
Oh, wait, Dan is giving them instructions. Hold on.
God damn it,
and while we do this, is Ed McMahon here? Do we need a timpani? Can Dean Martin come out and reunite with you on stage right now?
Yes.
All right, Dean, come on. Is that apple juice or is that really vodka? Come on, let's go.
Let's see. Nancy from Long Beach says, I seem to have figured out the technology, at least for the moment. LoySauce, it's appear.in/livestream for The Cure.
All right.
I posted it in the chat. I don't think he saw it. LoySauce is going to be joining us as well.
And then try to enter that room separately without being in this room. And if not, just try to rejoin the room.
Will it not let them in?
They're using apps, but it's kind of
Okay. We've got somebody knocking. Let's see who it is.
I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Oh, well,
Oh
come
my
on.
God.
It's the sauce. He's coming in.
Oh my God. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a moment of silence. Our very own God of podcasting is joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the sauce.
That's a lot of cum.
Thank you, Lord.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Well, thank you for having me, gentlemen. It's an honor to be here.
We love you. Welcome. Oh, you know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to increase the size of the room, gentlemen. So this room is going to refresh. I'm going to have to switch over to the larger room because we've got more guests coming in. We've got the sauce. And George is going to be refreshing. Oh, there we go. That might be why they couldn't get in, because the room was full and it wasn't switched over to the larger size room. Possibly. That's me knocking with the dummy account. Not dummy like Justin LoySauce. I know what you were thinking.
Be nice, LoySauce.
All right, there we go.
Nick, I have that same Amazing Spider-Man 2 poster on my wall as well.
Remember when that poster was better than the whole movie?
Hey, Brian, do you have these curtains in your house behind me?
I don't have those curtains.
Oh, man.
Those are swanky curtains, though.
Those are
We're
swanky.
disappointed.
I want to take a moment just now that I'm here and just say, get serious for a second here.
Oh, shit.
My grandfather is currently dying of pancreatic cancer as we record this. So I just want to thank you again, Nick and Justin, and I know Dan's doing a lot too.
Busting his ass behind the scenes. Yep.
Seriously, so I just want to say thank you guys. Hashtag fuck cancer, keep it going, because it's a difficult time. So
Sorry to hear that news, Brian.
Cheers to
very
all of
sorry
you.
to hear that.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very, very much for being here, because I know that you're like a frequent collaborator and guest on the one-time George and Tony Entertainment Show.
I've never met this guy before in my life. I've never seen him before, and I've only heard him on your show.
George and I are very good friends, isn't that right, George?
We are. Yes, we are. We go back a ways.
We go way
Brian.
back.
Yeah.
George
But
seems
before your
strangely
success at the
non-committal.
Wait, what'd you say, man?
George seems strangely non-committal.
No. Brian and I go way back prior to his success at the Alamo Draft House. We've known each other a long time.
Well, it's good to be on. It's good to see you and talk to you. And
My poor collaborators. I don't know where they are. They're not in the room.
I think Dan is still working on getting the co-hosts into the room, but
I'll tell you. Should we just move on? How about I introduce them to you, so at least you know who's coming in? And
there you go.
Why don't we just do that?
There you go.
All right, Nick. Thanks for letting me do this. By the way, Justin, where is Justin? Where in the world is Justin San Diego? Where is
Nobody knows.
All right. I mean, okay. First of all, I'm with the two great epic film guys right here.
Justin will be joining us tomorrow morning.
Okay,
and he's
that's
gonna
great.
spank you with the belt now.
Oh wait, there he is.
Oh boy. Well, thanks for doing this, Nick, and thank you, Justin, in Absentia. And thanks, Brian, for joining us.
Try to click that link, it won't let you go into.
That's Dan working with your co-host. Ignore the man behind the curtain. Oh,
there you go. Yeah.
hang on. Do not ignore that. That is a donation from Nancy from Long Beach, $25. Let's
Thank
kick
you, Nancy.
cancer's ass in honor of her dear Aunt Linda.
Thank you. Oh, for Aunt Linda?
Yes.
That was very nice. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Aunt Linda is my mom.
Oh.
I don't know.
Mhm.
You're on your phone, right?
Oh, we have somebody coming in.
I really don't know too much with the phone.
We have
This
another
is Rodney.
co-host.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rodney Roberts.
Howdy.
Oh, hang on. I got to mute him. I'm doubling him up. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
There we go. Sorry. I always forget about that. Rodney, welcome to the live stream for The Cure.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's an honor.
And it's my
Rodney,
understanding.
good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Brian.
Who's Brian?
I don't know, Brian. I don't know who that is.
I only know LoySauce, loin sauce.
Oh, excuse me. LoySauce.
There you go.
Very nice to make your acquaintance.
The sauce and the
Heard
god
a
of
lot about you.
podcasting.
That's true. It's my understanding, Rodney, to steal some attention away from the others. You're brand new to podcasting, is that correct?
I am, as I just proved with my struggling trying to get on here.
We
Yeah.
have another donation coming in. Interrupted Tales. What an amazing job they did. Thank you so much. $50 donation. We are
Oh,
now
thank you.
$3,100, I think. I can't even see the counter from here. Hang on. Yep. $3,096 toward The Cure. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm ready to bring in the big bucks.
It's his first time, guys. Be nice. Give him some donations. Drop some money over there in the chat. It's his first time ever on a podcast. So what brought you... I guess I want to pitch it over to George, because George, this is your second time around, or
Yes.
at least that I know of.
You are
What
correct.
brought you together with Rodney and your other co-hosts that we're still working on?
Her name is Kristen.
Kristen.
And hopefully she will be here shortly. I used to co-host a show called the George and Tony Entertainment Show. Brian had been on that show plenty of times. Believe it or not, he provided some great insight on film. I know that's shocking to our listeners here, but he was able to provide some great movie critiques for us. And Brian and I are, well, except for last year, we have attended the Middleburg Film Festival together in Northern Virginia every year, except last year. Unfortunately, he had to work. So I was there in your stead, Brian.
I miss it. I'm going to try to make it again this year.
Please do. But we had to end the show. Tony had other obligations, and he could not do the show with me any longer. And when your name is in the title of the show, and you are no longer a part of that show, unless you can find somebody with the same name, then you kind of have to let the show go. So we let the show go, and about a year and a half later, my friends Rodney and Kristen decided that they would join me in a new venture, and we are only 3 weeks, 3 episodes old. So we're babies when it comes to Meanwhile at the podcast. So hopefully you guys give us a chance, and hopefully I'll have you two on along with Justin, or hey, if it's got to be the frog, I'll take the frog. I don't care. But
Do I have to be on when Justin's on?
No, we can have almost like a 3-parter. And we could do one at a time. Well, actually, we'll do a 2-parter, but we'll have the sauce on each part.
You got to have the sauce.
Go fuck yourself.
Wow. You don't want the frog. That's why you don't want the frog.
Yeah, you are correct about that. So anyway, I'm back, but Rodney and Kristen are new to the podcasting game, at least on a regular basis. They had been guests on the show, but now they've committed, and now they're, sorry that they made that commitment.
So basically, what you're saying is we're halfway through our run.
Yeah, we're halfway through the run. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my Lord! Well, we're still working on Kristen. Dan's going to get that sorted in just a moment. But meanwhile, at the podcast, tell us what it's all about. What are you guys into?
Rodney, you want me to take? I hate to do all the talking because I always do it on our show. So do you want?
Well, you want to? I mean, it's your baby. I mean, you're.
I can mute him, Rodney. I can just shut him right up. I can kick him out of the call if you want.
He has the control.
Well, simply put, Meanwhile, the podcast is it's an entertainment podcast, and we cover everything from art, comics, movies, television. We're slice of life moments. Like, you may hear me talk about my kids. The difficulties of raising 2 girls. Just anything and everything. I mean, I hope over if it lasts for years, over the run of our podcast, we'll cover a multitude of topics, even stuff that I'm not comfortable talking about, and I'm just looking forward to having a good time.
That's it in a nutshell.
Man, I should have dropped the crickets in there.
Kristen, can we just have her on, even though it's audio only as far as she's concerned?
She doesn't have to have a camera. No.
So Dan, Kristen, why don't we just move on with the segment? We only have 18 more minutes.
Well, she just can't get into the room. That's what she's trying to figure out.
Oh, so she can't hear.
But it's letting her in the green room? Yeah. Hang on.
Oh, okay. I mean, we can hear her. She can hear us. Can we?
It's not like she's not.
Hang on.
Okay. I'll shut up. I'll wait.
Nope. Hang on. I got this. Okay. We're gonna mute me in the green room. We're gonna mute Dan. Who's still in the green room?
I don't. It's just like a bunch.
That's
of
Kristen,
wheels.
I believe.
have no idea what's even happening.
Is this Kristen, the guest window down here? Oh, I'm muted in here. Kristen, can you hear me? Why does it say Dan is spinning?
No, I've been removed from the room.
Hang on. I'm just going to try to connect straight into the green room and see if we can't get her audio.
I think we need to shift back to Tony Orlando and Dawn back up in New York while we figure all this stuff out.
Kristen, can you hear me? I don't know I can't hear anything. Could you hear her? Yeah. Dan could hear her. I can't hear her.
Okay, yeah, now we lost her.
That's really, really, really strange. We will continue to work on that, but on we soldier until we can get her sorted out here.
Well, let me tell you about Kristen really fast, because she doesn't have an opportunity to talk about herself. She works at the local comic shop here in Northern Virginia called Comic Logic, and she seemed like a natural person to be on a pop culture-ish slice of life podcast, because not only does she work in a comic book store, but she is surrounded by people who are always talking about the latest films, the latest TV shows, and of course the latest books, comics, and graphic novels. So not only does she have her own interest, but she's hearing other people's opinions and getting suggestions in addition to giving her suggestions about a lot of things. So she was a perfect person to have to be on a podcast. And Rodney is being very humble by not even letting you know that he is a graphic artist who has done one-of-a-kind exclusive sketch cards for trading card series, and one of them was a Star Wars series very recently.
Wow.
Yeah, I've actually worked on several Star Wars sets for Topps Trading Card Company, and I've worked on a couple of sets for Upper Deck, different Marvel properties. So
That is
rad.
amazing.
Sort of what I do in my spare time.
And again, he's being a little too humble, but here in the Northern Virginia area, there is an event called All-Star Comic-Con, and he will have a table there. So if anybody's in the Northern Virginia area, the weekend of June 8th and 9th, you can see him at the Tyson's Corner Sheridan and maybe even get one of his prints or ask him for a commission.
Yeah, come meet me in person. I would love that.
I'll be there.
Table 132.
And then you could tell him how great this segment was as Dan was trying to get us all out of the green room doing his darndest. It was great. And you could just tell him that you heard him on the live stream for The Cure.
Rodney, do you have any work to show while you're sitting here?
I do. Let's see here. These were sketch cards that I did for an event called Inktober. So you do 31 ink drawings a day for the entire month of October. So I did a set of sketch cards.
I love that Spidey.
So,
Dude, those are amazing.
Thank you very much. Let's see, I did custom card backs. So.
Oh, the Optimus Prime one is sweet.
We have a very talented guy here. This isn't going to transfer on the audio, but if you are watching this on the video right now, I hope you're enjoying this.
And something else I just did, I haven't really talked about it yet or announced it, but like people that don't want to necessarily buy these individual cards, they are on sale. But I just got printed. So
Inktober. What is that, like a
nice.
sketchbook?
These are all the cards in a single booklet.
Oh, very nice.
And so little blurbs about, my thought process, what went behind the drawing, why I decided to draw those particular characters, and what it meant to me. I mean, most of them are nostalgic characters that I grew up with. Spawn.
I'm a little curious. It's not like you don't have a weekly outlet for the past 3 weeks. Why didn't you tell anybody about this? I didn't know about this.
Well, I was kind of trying to keep it a surprise into All-Star.
But here you go, an exclusive, right?
Cat's out of the bag.
Okay.
So I will have those for sale at All-Star Comic-Con on June 8th and 9th.
Wow.
I'll definitely have to get one from you, man.
Dude, those
Definitely,
are amazing.
Man.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
Those look great.
Nick,
And
I know
like
I know our time is short, and we were having those little snaffadoodles there at the beginning, but there was something we wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, yes.
In our very short time here, really quick. And Kristen not being here, we're at a little bit of a disadvantage because she was going to ask you this question, but I want to make sure I get it out there. We all know, any of the listeners of your show know how you felt about Avengers Endgame.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Nick, you ignorant slut. I mean, I'm sorry. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But come on, guys. If that's not worth $50 to hear that,
He just
come
dropped
on,
Dwight Schrute on me.
I know. Geez. Okay. Now, Kristen was a little curious about folks who see the films but don't read the comics. And while we haven't had a real discussion about this on our show, I mean, we're only 3 episodes old, 3 episodes coming tomorrow, the 3rd episode. It got me to thinking about even prose books that become movies. So everybody talks about, comics, why isn't anybody going out to read the source material? Who's this?
Well, there's Chris Yaney checking in with a $39 donation. Thank you so much, Chris, for your continued generosity for the live stream for The Cure.
So anyway, my question is, have you ever been inspired, not necessarily just the comics, but to read the source material for any film that you've seen that's been adapted from something, whether it be a prose book or a graphic novel?
Yep. 2 examples. I saw the 6.5-ish minute trailer for Cloud Atlas when it came out. Was so in love with the trailer, I immediately bought the book and read it
So in
cover to
that
cover.
case, you read it before you saw the movie.
Yep, at least probably 2 or 3 times, and I adore that novel. That novel is genius. The movie is really ambitious, and I enjoy the movie for what it tries to do. But the book is ingenious. And the other example that I have is actually right here. I can pull it right out for everybody on the stream.
Oh, Watchmen.
I'd never even heard of Watchmen before I saw the trailer for the adaptation of it that Zack Snyder did. As soon as I saw that trailer, I read this thing cover to cover like 5 times.
And again, the trailer is what got you.
The trailers, yeah, not even the material, not even the source material.
That is so interesting
not even
to hear.
The movie itself, yeah.
And you realize for the 3 hosts of this show, Kristen included, who's obviously not here, unfortunately, but to us, it's weird that somebody had never heard of Watchmen prior to that. Because in our little world, it's a thing.
Gospel, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I understand why now.
Yeah.
I read that book for I read it yearly for about 10 years. After the first time I read it, I would pick it up again and read it every year. And I haven't read it in a while, so I need to go back and check it out. But I mean, my copy is right behind me as well.
I knew I had to grab it off the shelf because I think Cloud Atlas, I bought an ebook. I downloaded it. But yeah, and it was just trailers. Yeah, it wasn't actually, I don't know if I've ever seen a movie, like watched the movie and then been like, I have to read. Maybe I have and I can't think of it, but these are 2 like huge examples where I was just so in awe of some aspect of something that I just glimpsed a taste of and ran right out and got it.
Sweet. No inspiration from any of the Marvel, even the DC movies, to pick up another graphic novel and read it, even though the movies are, they stray a little bit from the original, from the stories.
But they're loosely based.
Yeah. Any interest in any of that or nah?
I mean, maybe. Some.
I mean, for the ones you liked. I mean, obviously you didn't like Endgame. Spoilers, everybody. If you haven't heard that episode.
I'd still read. Like, and a lot of it's time for me. A lot of it, I just don't have the time that I wish I had to.
None of us do. To
read and do things. Like this event has swallowed literally every moment I've had for the past months, plural. Nick,
I can imagine. Yeah.
So. Like a lot of it's just time. Like I would love to get into like, especially a lot of like different Batman graphic novels and stuff that people have told me about that sound really good. It's just a time thing. I just have not had the time to get into it. Like Watchmen was like, I was still in college when Watchmen came out, so I had more time then, if you can believe that.
Well, if you ever, I don't know if you've read it or not, but if you ever find the time and you're looking for Batman stuff to read, Year One and The Dark Knight Returns are must reads. So.
Like those are 2 that I've heard of a lot, as well as The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke,
yeah. Not that like Watchmen, whatever movie that was, whatever the hell that animated movie was with him banging Batgirl and whatever.
Terrible. Yeah.
It was so.
Yeah, don't go by the animated movie.
No.
Nick, did you see that?
I did see it. Yeah, it was.
I remember going to see it with Justin, being so excited for it. It was the massive letdown.
Yeah.
Was it because you were there with Justin?
Did they play at the Alamo?
No, we went to Tyson's Corner to see it.
Oh,
okay. It had none of the. It like tried to do like shot for shot the comic book, but they would leave out like. It wasn't like panel for panel because they would leave out certain things, and I'm like, if you're going to adapt it like scene for scene, why leave stuff out? It doesn't make sense. And if you're going to add stuff, why take stuff out? So to me, it was just.
Yeah, you got the storyboards right there.
Yeah, it was not a good adaptation at all, and the animation was not good to look at.
Yeah.
Why deviate from the source material?
Mm-hmm.
Now I see our time is winding down, and I have a story I need to tell.
I've got to hear this story.
Do you mind if I tell this story? Hopefully, it'll take about 3 minutes or so. I know our time is running out. Please open your pocketbooks and get ready for it. Picture it: Middleburg, Virginia, 2013. A poor peasant boy. A poor peasant boy, recently relieved of his duties at the local telecommunications vendor, due to no fault of his own, mind you. He was one of the many helpless victims of poor management and shoddy business practices at the highest level. In fact, to this day, he is still recovering from the financial devastation brought upon his house. The ruin, the pain, the unbearable shame. But I digress. Where was I? Oh yes, Middleburg, 2013. A poor peasant boy with a lot of free time on his hands decided to attend the first annual Middleburg Film Festival. He had planned to only go to the event over the weekend, but fate now made him available to go during the week. It was a stormy autumn day in the sleepy hamlet known for its expansive vistas and as a haven for horses, but Middleburg has a dark, seedy side the world knows little about. After finally finding a parking spot near a quaint cafe, our hero had a long walk to the screening of Howard the Duck 2, Going Quackers. He found himself wandering in circles and eventually finding his way to the seedier part of town, meandering down an alleyway where he bumped into a shady, disheveled, waif-like figure. The peasant boy asked the impish creature for directions, and like a hopester by a dumpster, the stranger only replied, "Would you like to buy some crusty socks?" Confused, the peasant boy declined the offer and asked again for directions. Nick, are you okay? Are you ready to something going on over there? Okay.
I'm glad you know.
But again, I digress. The stranger replied, "Ah, yes, the film festival. I love movies." Oh. We won.
It is a $10 donation, God filter and all, from Julio from the Contrarians for my comic book education. $10 donation for my comic book
We
education.
provide a public service here. Come to Meanwhile at the podcast for more, Nick, please. And as the story goes, the stranger replied, "Ah, yes, the film festival. I love movies, you know, and one day I shall critique these celluloid creations as I ascend to become the god of podcasting." As he made this declaration, the stranger stepped out of the shadows into the light. The peasant boy gasped in horror at the unkempt, barefoot urchin who stood before him. After suppressing the bile working its way up his throat, the peasant boy asked the stranger if he would like to join him at the festival. The stranger vigorously nodded his head and replied, "Can we see The Odd Couple starring Tony Wiseau and Greg Sestero with Kato Kalin as Murray the cop?" The peasant boy took the stranger's sweaty, sticky hand and said, yes, we can. And as they danced with the devil in the pale moonlight and walked down toward the Salamander Resort. And ladies and gentlemen, that peasant boy was me. And that pathetic stranger was none other than L-L-L-L-LoySauce.
You're not my dad.
Now, of course, if Brian were to tell you how we met, he might have some of those details a little fuzzy, but that's how Brian
I feel like
and
he'd
met.
lie. He'd lie a lot.
Almost 6 years ago, that's how Brian and I met.
That's exactly how it happened.
Exactly.
No embellishment whatsoever.
No, none at all. In fact, I wrote it in my journal that night, and that's how come I have it that's why I have it as clear as day.
As if it happened yesterday.
It is, I know, almost 6 years. So, Nick, that's how I met the God of Podcast.
Well,
cheers to that.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute privilege. Especially, we actually got the sauce in tow, which, I mean, we'll always take some Loy sauce.
I want to see a kid get decapitated.
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but please, before we run out of time, please tell everybody that's watching out there, everybody listening, where they can find Meanwhile at the podcast.
So right now you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Libsyn, the PlayAPod app, and you can follow us on Twitter at Meanwhile ATP, Facebook Meanwhile at the podcast, and Instagram Meanwhile ATP. I think I covered everything.
Or you can go straight to our the website that we set up at Libsyn at meanwhile at the podcast.libsyn.com.
All right. Well, you guys, hopefully 3 episodes in, keep going. I can't
third
wait.
episode will be available tomorrow. So what I want everybody to do is listen to this all the way through Sunday, and then Monday when you go to work, we can be with you on your commute.
You guys have started at the worst part of my prep time for Livestream for the Cure, so I can't check it out until after the event, but I promise that I will. I cannot wait. Thank you so much for being here, all of you, and LoySauce for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. We love
Thanks for doing this.
Some sauce.
Yeah,
we love
nice
us some
meeting you guys.
sauce. Thank you, Lord. Any parting words, Lord?
I just want to say thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for engaging. We love you.
and for the amazing, amazing donations. We're almost at 42% of our goal.
That's
Day
incredible.
one's not even
on
over.
the first day.
Day one's not even over, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to bid adieu to the god of podcasting and to Meanwhile at the podcast. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And we are